Health authorities in Korea have issued a nationwide influenza alert nearly 2 months earlier than last year, amid a sharp increase in cases in recent weeks.
최근 몇 주 사이 인플루엔자 환자가 급증하면서 국내 보건당국이 올해 독감 유행주의보를 지난해보다 약 2달 빨리 발령했습니다.
Yeah, so fitting with this chilly Monday morning, and I'll have to excuse our listeners. I do have sort of a stuffy sort of nose situation. My sinuses are flaring up. I think it's because of this weather, but it's not just allergies, but I think there's a sort of an influenza outbreak, and it's come much earlier than last year. Last year it came in December, but we're still in October right now, and it's only 4 months since the previous advisory was lifted back in June. So we've had a 4-month sort of rest period for influenza, but according to the KDCDPA, the Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency, the number of suspected flu patients rose to 12.1 people per 1,000 patients, and that's above the 9.1 per 1,000 threshold.
Yeah, exactly. I think the reason you possibly tripped, or you did almost tripped with that name is because a lot of the government agencies changed their official titles as of the 1st of October. So now we have to get used to these new names, right?
Is that what happened? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm used to calling it the CDC, right?
Exactly, yeah. I guess people will have to get their flu shots earlier than usual.
Yeah, that's a good sort of suggestion. Also for children, the agency's warning that for children aged 7 to 12 and 1 to 6 particularly, of course, are very vulnerable. And, you know, if you raise kids, when one gets sick, usually they're in a school environment, then the other children can get sick as well.
그래요. 독감 백신 아직 맞지 않으셨다면 서둘러서 받으시는 게 좋을 것 같습니다. 올해는 독감 환자가 예년보다 더 빨리 굉장히 많이 발생하고 있다라는 소식이에요. So a national alert has been issued.
Yeah, so when authorities, usually the government or a health agency in this case, when they announce and they warn, in this case, the entire country about the spread of this influenza, they issue it, we say, right? And usually it's done to raise public awareness and try to encourage people to try and prevent the spread of the disease.
Issue an alert, 경보를 발령하다. Issue a nationwide alert, 그러면 전국의 경보를 발령하다. And this is amid a sharp increase in cases.
Right. So when something's amid, it's in the middle of or during something, during a situation or a condition. So what authorities have observed is this sharp increase, and that's why they issued this alert. And AMID, amid, is often interchangeable with amidst. AMIDST, and both have the same meaning, in the middle of or surrounded by. Amidst is probably a little more formal, but for all intents and purposes, it's the same meaning.
뭐뭐 하는 중에 이라는 뜻으로 amid를 쓰고요. 뒤에 ST를 붙이면 조금 더 격식 있는 느낌인데요. 같은 의미라고 보시면 되겠습니다. All right, here's the headline again. Health authorities in Korea have issued a nationwide influenza alert nearly 2 months earlier than last year, amid a sharp increase in cases in recent weeks. Let's move on to the second headline.
Seoul has announced plans to build senior-friendly playgrounds in all of its 25 districts as part of efforts to prepare for the capital's rapidly aging population.
서울시는 고령 인구 증가세가 가팔라짐에 따라 이에 대한 대비책 중 하나로 시의 25개 전 자치구에 어르신 놀이터를 조성할 계획이라고 발표했습니다.
Yeah, so this is an initiative that began actually a couple years ago in the Guro district of Seoul, where these playgrounds, they're a little different from just ordinary parks in that they have these exercise stations.
Yeah.
They're easy to use machines, these fitness machines for older adults, and they have these sort of safety measures like shock absorbing floors. They're really comfortable and soft, right?
Yep.
And also handrails to sort of reduce the risk of injury. And this idea sort of began in another part of the country, in the city of Gwangju back in 2021. But now the city of Seoul wants to expand this to all 25 districts, or gu's, as they say.
맞아요. 네. 이렇게 굉장히 많은 그 어르신들을 위한 놀이터들이 조성이 될 계획입니다. 자, 어르신들을 위한 것이다.
Yeah.
영어로는 senior friendly playgrounds.
Right. As an adjective, we use an hyphen, right? So senior friendly, meaning that it's usually designed to be safe, comfortable and easy to use for older adults.
Anything friendly means it's good for that thing or it's for that thing. So environmentally friendly is the first word I think of.
Yeah.
Kid friendly is a place that kids can go to, I guess. What else could there be? Pet friendly?
Pet friendly is another one. You're seeing a lot of pet friendly hotels,
Yes.
malls, even department stores are are becoming pet friendly. Of facilities.
They have these little litter boxes specifically for pet litter. Those the big shopping malls that you were talking about. So, that's very pet friendly.
And I've seen sort of establishments put out water bowls for our furry friends to enjoy as well.
Oh, exactly. 그러면은 이제 우리 반려동물 친화적인 그런 시설이 되겠죠. So that would be pet friendly. 지금은 senior friendly. 그러니까 어르신들 친화형의 그런 놀이터. 우리말로는 그냥 어르신 놀이터 하면 되겠지만 영어로는 senior friendly playground라고 표현할 수 있겠고요. What about as part of efforts to do something?
Yeah, so as part of efforts to do it's a phrase used to sort of introduce an action that's contributing to a larger plan. So there's a bigger goal or initiative, and it is very formal writing to say this. Seoul is planning to build playgrounds in all of its districts to prepare for the capital's rapidly aging population. You can just say that, but when you add the as part of efforts to, it becomes more formal, it becomes official, and it's emphasizing that the action is sort of one step in this broader picture or set of measures.
As part of efforts to do something. 무엇을 하기 위한 노력의 일환으로. All right, well, here's the headline again. Seoul has announced plans to build senior-friendly playgrounds in all of its 25 districts as part of efforts to prepare for the capital's rapidly aging population.
The North Pacific Ocean has experienced its warmest summer on record, according to a BBC analysis, with sea surface temperatures rising by more than 1/4 degree Celsius above the previous high set in 2022.
영국 BBC 방송에 따르면 올 여름 북태평양은 해수면 온도가 기존 최고치인 2022년보다 섭씨 0.25도 이상 상승해 기상 관측 기록상 가장 더운 여름을 보낸 것으로 나타났습니다.
Yeah, so there's this area in the northern Pacific Ocean known as the warm blob. And what the BBC did was they looked at data and they calculated the average temperature between July and September in this area that extends from the east coast of the Asian continent all the way to the west coast of North America, and found that not only has the region been warming quickly over the past couple of decades, but this year is extremely higher than in recent years as well. And this affected area, this so-called warm blob, is an area the size 10 times the size of the Mediterranean. So that'll give you sort of a gauge on how big this area is. But climate change, of course, is known to make marine heat waves more likely, but scientists are really struggling to explain why this part of the Pacific Ocean has been hot for so long. One sort of theory is that shipping fuels might be contributing to this warning by letting off this gas that's harmful to human health.
I tried looking up the warm blob on the map online, and obviously it's not the official name of any region, so I couldn't get anything. But of course, we're talking about a specific part of the Pacific Ocean, and it, I guess, looks like a blob. Which is, what's a blob? It's
a blob would just be the sort of a misshaped figure that doesn't have a shape, right?
뭐 약간 덩어리?
Yeah.
이런 거죠. 그래서 굉장히 따뜻한 부분을 닉네임 붙여가지고 The Warm Blob라고 하는데요. 이제 북태평양에 있는 해수면 온도가 좀 높은 부분을 지칭합니다. 이게 이제 2022년에도 굉장히 온도가 높았는데 그때보다도 올여름 0.25도 더 높았기 때문에 굉장히 더운 여름이었다라는 것을 다시 한번 알려주는 데이터네요. It was the warmest summer on record.
Yeah, this is an expression that's going to continue to come up when we're talking about climate change because when we see climate reports or news articles or even just scientific discussions, something's on record, the warmest on record, meaning it's the hottest summer ever documented, right? Since official sort of temperature records were kept.
Yeah, exactly. Something on record는 기록상. Warmest summer on record, 기록상 가장 더운 여름. What about previous?
Yeah, so when we say previous, we're meaning something that occurred before something else, chronologically speaking, in time of order. So when we talk about earlier events or experiences, in this case, earlier data, when we're comparing, we say previous.
이전에. So with TV dramas,
Yeah.
sometimes they'll show you a little clip of what happened in the previous episode,
Yeah.
and they might say, previously, ... and then they'll show you what happened, just maybe a few seconds.
Right. Or when we're just talking about or comparing this week and last week, you know, compared to the previous week, temperatures have plummeted here in Korea.
Exactly. The previous week. 그러면 지난주가 되겠죠. Or you might talk about your previous job.
Yeah.
내가 예전에 다니던 직장. 뭐 그럴 때 previous 쓰면 되겠습니다. All right, here's the headline again. The North Pacific Ocean has experienced its warmest summer on record, according to a BBC analysis, with sea surface temperatures rising by more than a quarter of a degree Celsius above the previous high set in 2022. Here's our next headline.
A recent study by an American garage and carport retailer suggests that birds may favor certain colors when relieving themselves, with brown, red, and black vehicles targeted most often.
미국의 한 차고 전문업체가 실시한 설문조사에서 새들이 특정 색상의 자동차 위에 더 자주 배설한다는 결과가 나온 가운데 그중에서도 갈색, 빨강색, 검은색 차량이 새 배설물 피해를 가장 많이 입는 것으로 조사됐습니다.
Yeah, so excuse the content if you're having breakfast this morning, but this retailer, they surveyed 1,000 vehicle owners, and they found that birds definitely see color when it comes to releasing, if you want to say. And like the headline says, brown, red, and black vehicles, sort of these darker hues get splattered the most, lighter colors like white or silver or gray ranked lower when talking about quote unquote second coating on the paint.
How interesting.
There. Yeah, because birds and most animals, they perceive color sort of differently from humans. We think that dogs see black and white. They're colorblind, as they say, but scientists actually say they do see color, just different shades on the spectrum of color. But birds specifically, they have the ability to detect UV light, ultraviolet light, right? And studies show that these shades are especially eye-catching for these birds.
All right. Well, of course, this headline tries to describe what the birds are doing in the most possible modest way.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have just said poop, which is very direct. But they said the birds relieve themselves.
Yeah, a euphemism, right? We say just another way to
of
say
saying
it.
Going to the toilet.
Right. I would say the more official or medical way to say it is defecating.
Right.
Probably, right?
맞아요. 이거 지금 전부 다 배설하다라는
Yeah.
뜻의 표현들인데 혹시 식사 중이시라면 죄송합니다.
Right.
근데 이제 여기 헤드라인에서는 relieve yourself라고 해서 그게 뭐냐면은 이게 뭔가 이렇게 푼다 이런 뜻이 있어요.
Right.
그래서 어쨌든 화장실 간다는 뜻이고.
When nature calls.
All right. So what is a carport retailer?
Yeah, so first of all, a carport. This is interesting because a carport is a little different from a garage in that it's not completely enclosed. So it's open on the side. So basically, you have a ceiling or a roof that provides a little bit of protection, but it's different from a garage in that it's not completely enclosed. It could be freestanding or it could be attached to a wall. But if you go on Google or if you search what a carport is, you can tell the difference because garages in the U.S. at least, a lot of houses have garages that have doors that are fully enclosed.
아하. 카포트라는 게 지붕만 있는 이제 간이 차고 같은 거네요. 옆에는 다 뚫려 있고 위에 지붕만 있는 형태의 그런 차고. carport. What about to favor something?
Yeah, so to favor someone or something, there's various sort of definitions for to favor. In this case, we're talking about when you have a preference over from one thing over another. But if you favor someone, you could be treating someone nicely or kindly, or something that helps or benefits someone could be favoring as well. The sunny weather favors outdoor activities, for example. But in this case, we're talking about a preference.
선호한다,
Yeah.
편애한다 이런 의미가 있죠. To favor. The spelling is a little bit different depending on which part of the world you're in. In North America, generally speaking, it's F-A-V-O-R.
Yep.
I think in Canada, sometimes you also spell it the British way, which is F-A-V-O-U-R.
Yes. In this case, the U is there in Canada.
Okay.
And speaking of British English, I'm curious how you say garage.
garage.
I guess garage
Yeah.
is how you say it.
You say garage?
Garage. So
Yeah.
the stress is on the second syllable for American English.
That's right. Well, here's the headline again. A recent study by an American garage and carport retailer suggests that birds may favor certain colors when relieving themselves, with brown, red, and black vehicles targeted most often. Let's move on to the final headline.
A woman in the U.S. state of Michigan has claimed to have won a $100,000 jackpot last month by using numbers generated by AI.
미국 미시간주에 사는 한 여성이 지난달 인공지능이 생성한 번호로 복권을 구매해 10만 달러, 우리 돈으로 약 1억 4천만 원의 상금에 당첨됐다고 밝혔습니다.
Yeah. So immediately after I saw this news headline, I went to my AI and asked to generate some numbers. And remarkably,
buy it?
not yet.
Okay.
So I will this week. I will try to, because usually I just do the random automatic
Right.
drawing of numbers. But maybe I'll, try to use this tactic.
Yeah.
and
Did your
strategy.
AI give you a set of numbers?
It's interesting because a lot of people believe there's some sort of
Science
rhyme
behind.
and reason or
Yeah.
some science behind picking lotto numbers. But of course, it's completely random. I think in Korea's lottery case, it's a 1 in $8 million chance, 8 million, chance of winning or getting all 6 numbers correctly. But this woman who doesn't often play the lottery, she says she only plays it when the jackpot gets really high. But she did this, and at first she thought she only won $50,000, which would still
a lot.
be a nice little, little chump change, as they say.
7천만 원, 8천만 원,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
But she actually won $100,000, she said, and her and her husband were in total disbelief. But $100,000 would be 14억?
Yes.
Was that?
No,
Yeah.
1억 4천만 원.
1억 4천, excuse me.
1억
So
4천.
not life-changing amount, I think, but a considerable amount, I think. But but the Lottery Commission in Michigan, though, says that the results of all lottery drawings are completely random. They cannot be predicted by utilizing AI and other sort of number-generating tools. So
Exactly.
trying to keep the integrity of the lottery fair.
Yep.
Right?
All right. Well, this woman claims she won with the numbers that AI gave her.
Yeah, so when you claim something, you're stating or you're saying something that is true, but often not offering proof
Okay.
of that. So you're sort of asserting a fact or opinion.
To claim, 주장하다.
Yeah.
This is what the woman is saying. She says, oh, AI helped me to win.
Yeah. There are other meanings of claim, though.
Yeah.
In a legal aspect, when you have when we talk about property, you have claim over something. Or if you want to take responsibility for, be associated with something, that's also claiming. But in this case, we're talking about a statement.
맞아요. 법적으로는 소유권을 주장한다라는 의미로도 쓸 수 있는데 여기서는 이제 그냥 주장하다 이렇게 말하다. What about to be generated by AI?
Yeah, we hear this a lot with AI generators. So when something's generated, it means it's produced or created or made or brought into existence. Because AI offers sort of these answers for us.
Sure.
A power generator creates power, right?
Exactly. 발전기가 되겠죠. Power generator. 자, 무언가를 만들어내는 거, generate. 여기서는 to be generated by AI. 그러니까 AI에 의해서 만들어진이 되겠습니다. Well, here's the headline one more time. A woman in the U.S. state of Michigan has claimed to have won a $100,000 jackpot last month by using numbers generated by AI.
The International Monetary Fund has projected that Korea's per capita GDP will drop 3 spots this year to rank 37th in the world at just under $36,000.
국제통화기금 IMF가 우리나라 1인당 국내 총생산 GDP를 36,000달러를 약간 밑도는 액수로 예상하면서 이 부문에서 한국이 작년 세계 34위에서 올해 37위로 세 계단 내려앉을 것으로 전망했습니다. Tell us more.
Yeah, well, we're on the way down, unfortunately, from the 34th position last year to 37th this year, according to the IMF's World Economic Outlook report. It's a decrease of 0.8%. And they're forecasting that it will continue to fall, that we'll be ranked 38th next year, and then 40th in 2028 and 41st in 2029.
Is that because of the declining working population?
Yes, it is. So we're seeing that happening, but we're also seeing other countries rising. Taiwan, for example, has beat Korea for the first time. It's risen from 38th place to 35th. However, we will see our GDP increasing by 2028. It should surpass $40,000, and that's a year earlier than they were predicting back in April.
그렇군요. 2028년 정도면은 이제 GDP 1인당 4만 달러 정도로 예상이 되기는 합니다만 이제 올해 같은 경우에는 기존의 37위에서 아니죠. 34위에서
네.
이제 37위로 세 계단 내려간 모습입니다. 전 세계적인 순위는 좀 떨어졌네요. Let's have a look at to project.
Yes, this is one of those where you need to listen to the pronunciation carefully because as a noun, project is different to the verb to project. And when we project something, well, we're forecasting it, we're predicting it, we're estimating what is going to happen in the future, or we're saying this will or this is likely to happen.
예상하고 추정하는 것을 to project with a stress on the jet 이렇게 발음을 하죠. 그냥 우리 어떤 이제 회사에서 아니면 대학교에서 하는 프로젝트는 영어로 project.
네.
The stress is on the first syllable.
Exactly.
So same spelling, different pronunciation and different meaning.
Yes, but projector and to project a movie, for example, is the same pronunciation in the verb form as well. So if you just think of a projector showing you the future, it might stick in your head.
All right. 그 beam projector 같은 거. 네. Now what about per capita?
That's talking about per person, per head. So when you see this per capita, don't be scared of the Latin. It just means per person.
Exactly. So in business news, when we're talking about anything to do with numbers, official numbers, then we'll say per capita to mean 1인당.
네.
But in everyday speak, if we're splitting the cost of pizza, for example, we won't say per capita.
Absolutely
we'll just say
not.
Per person. Let's
Exactly.
pay whatever per person.
Yeah, so
Or
this
to
is
split the cost.
this is something you'll see in reports and in the news. Otherwise, don't worry about it.
And something just under something.
Well, we're going to be talking about figures. In this case, it's money, but we could be talking about speed or distance. And if something is just under a certain figure, it means it is a little bit smaller than that.
Right.
So, for example, if the figure is 100, if something is just under 100, it might be 99 or 98 or 97.
Exactly. Well, Korea's per capita GDP is projected to be 35,962, which is just under 36,000.
Yeah, only $38 difference.
맞아요. 자, 그래서 거의 뭐뭐에 가깝다. 이거보다 약간 아주 살짝 낫다. 이런 의미죠.
And the companion phrase, just over.
Oh yeah, of course. The opposite. 자, 다시 읽어보겠습니다. The International Monetary Fund, or the IMF, has projected that Korea's per capita GDP will drop 3 spots this year to rank 37th in the world at just under $36,000. Let's move on to the next headline.
The employment rate for people aged 15 to 29 in the country stood at 45.1% in September, down 0.7 percentage points from a year earlier, marking the 17th consecutive month of year-on-year decline and the most persistent downward streak since the global financial crisis 16 years ago.
지난달 15세에서 29세 청년층 고용률이 45.1%로 1년 전보다 0.7%포인트 낮아져 전년 동월 대비 17개월 연속 하락세를 기록했습니다. 이는 글로벌 금융위기였던 2009년 이후 약 16년 만에 나타난 최장 기록입니다. So, not good news, I guess, if we're saying employment is going down.
Yes, I mean, but at least it's not like the global financial crisis. If we
Right.
look back at that, from September 2005 to November 2009, it fell for 51 straight months. So hopefully it won't be like that. Hopefully we'll see an upturn, but they are saying that this slump that we have at the moment, one of the main reasons is a shortage of quality jobs and the fact that businesses, the trend is to hire more experienced workers. But if you're just out of school or just out of university and looking for a job, how can you compete with that?
Yeah.
So they're saying this is not about external factors, this is more about structural factors. So there's maybe something about Korean working society that we need to change to make sure that the youth can be employed.
Well, the stats in the headlines are a decline from a year ago. Another way of phrasing that would be a year-on-year decline.
Yes, meaning 1 year after another, consecutively. So when you see year on year used in reports or on the news, it means this year and the next year or last year and this year. It's continuous.
Comparing it.
Yes.
그래요. 전년 대비 뭐뭐뭐 할 때 year on year. 그리고 이제 increase가 올 수도 있고요. decline이 올 수도 있고 전년 대비 감소라는 게 이 헤드라인에는 쓰였고요. What about persistent?
Do you really want to know what it means?
Well, I would like you to explain what this means.
I mean, I'm surely our listeners know it already.
Really hoping that you will tell us what this means.
You really want me to say?
Pretty Paul.
Okay. Ooh, I like Pretty Paul. Thought you were going to say Pretty Please. Yes, you're being very persistent, Sue, so I will let you know what it
Don't
means.
make me say things that I don't mean.
What? Sue! Okay. I am persistently annoying.
Okay. What? Persistent.
If someone is persistent or something is persistent, it means it keeps going, keeps trying. I think students this time of year are persistent in their studies. The Sunung is coming up, the big exam, so all students are trying again and again to get the answers right so they can pass. As a worker, a diligent worker is persistent in their duties. A diligent child is persistent in bugging their parents for some candy or a new toy.
Yeah.
And my cat is persistent in telling me to wake up at 3 a.m.
아, 지속적으로 무언가 할 때, 끈질기게 무언가를 할 때 be persistent라고 얘기를 할 수 있겠죠. 자, 여기서는 a persistent downward streak. So it's been going down for many months.
Yes, continuing to go down.
All right. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. The employment rate for people aged 15 to 29 in the country stood at 45.1% in September, down 0.7 percentage point from a year earlier, marking the 17th consecutive month of year-on-year decline and the most persistent downward streak since the global financial crisis 16 years ago.
Korea's popular street snack, keranbang, or egg bread, has been listed by CNN as one of the world's best breads, joining other global staples such as France's baguette, Italy's ciabatta, and Mexico's tortilla.
한국의 인기 길거리 간식 중 하나인 계란빵이 프랑스의 바게트, 이탈리아의 치아바타, 멕시코의 토르티아 등과 함께 미국 CNN이 뽑은 세계 50대 빵 중 하나로 선정됐습니다. Now, I love all of these, but tell us more.
Okay, well, CNN seems to be doing a celebration of the world's breads, and yes, keranbang is up there. And for those who don't know, it's a wheat bread with an egg sort of inside it. Not mixed, but sort of floating towards the top.
I've just been reminded that you don't eat eggs.
No,
so
I don't.
Have you ever had a keranbang?
Nope.
Oh,
nope,
no.
never will. Don't say, oh no, I don't want to.
Because it's delicious.
I don't care, so I don't eat eggs.
아, 아쉽네요. 선생님 계란을 안 드셔서 요 계란빵의 맛을 모르시는구나.
But I know that people like them, and I can see why, because they're a tasty, savoury breakfast or pretty much any time of the day treat.
It's savoury, but it's also slightly sweet as well, and it's a unique taste.
I think it's something about Korean street snacks, street food. There's often a little bit of sweetness in there, just to tickle the taste buds.
That's right.
But yes, CNN was celebrating it and saying that, not just the egg and the bread, but also the bits of ham or cheese or parsley makes it a really good belly-warming snack through Korea's long winters. And considering how cold it was this morning, there might be quite a few listeners who are looking to get themselves an egg bread.
Yeah, how interesting that CNN has listed this as one of their top 50 breads.
Yes, I don't know how I feel about it because personally speaking, it's not one of mine, but it's always nice to see Korea listed.
Yeah.
And it's nice to be reminded that bread is not just one thing. Bread is not a monolith.
Yeah.
There are so many different kinds, and Korea has also invented lots of particularly Korean kinds of bread.
Exactly. Are you a fan of the other ones? Baguette, ciabatta,
I'm a
tortilla?
big fan of all three.
Yeah.
For me, bread is all about versatility, which is one reason why I would not put the egg bread above them.
Right.
Because the egg bread is for one purpose and one purpose only.
Yeah, exactly. You can't really utilize that.
No, whereas the baguette, for me, it can be a beautiful sandwich. You can have it with cheese. You can mop up a sauce with it.
Yeah.
I think the baguette probably wins out. But I did live in France, so I'm biased.
All right. Well, we all can be. Let's have a look at street snack.
Well, a street snack is a food that you buy on the street, usually from a truck or a stall. However, it's not a meal, or at least it's not considered to be a meal.
Right.
I think snack is subjective. Someone's snack could well be someone's meal.
Yeah.
But here we'd see them, for example, these egg breads or sweet potatoes or chestnuts or rice cakes in spicy sauce. They're all Korean street snacks.
길거리 간식을 street snack 말 그대로 이렇게 번역을 한 모습이죠. And what about a global staple?
We're not talking about the office supplies here. We're talking about the food that we eat every day. So when we use the word staple, we're talking about a food that a people, a population, or a culture cannot live without. In Korea, one of our staples is rice. In the UK, certainly bread and potatoes. So global staples are the things we eat every single day around the world. And bread certainly is one of them.
그렇죠. 주식이라는 뜻이 있으니까 global staples 그러면 전 세계적으로 주식으로 삼고 있는 빵들이라는 뜻인데 그 목록과 함께 이렇게 주식으로 빵을 이제 활용하는 그 나라들의 아까 말한 바게트, 치아바타 이런 것들과 함께 한국의 길거리 간식인 계란빵이 올라갔다는 거. 그 카테고리가 다르기는 하지만 그래도
Yeah.
한 리스트 안에 들어갔어요.
Exactly. So I wouldn't describe this egg bread as a Korean staple. It's
No,
not something
it's not.
that people will definitely eat every single day. It's a
Right.
treat. But a baguette, for example, I think would be a French staple food.
Oh, for sure. 그래요. The only common denominator they have is that they're all breads.
Yes.
그래요. 자, 그럼 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. Korea's popular street snack, 계란빵 or egg bread, has been listed by CNN as one of the world's best breads, joining other global staples such as France's baguette, Italy's ciabatta, and Mexico's tortilla.
You know, Sue, I once met a martial artist who baked the best bread.
Oh.
And I asked him his secret, and he said it's all about the kneading. You see, I use my special technique. It's the tae, kwon, do.
그럼 넘어가도록 하겠습니다.
Yeah.
This is headline number 4.
A 100-year-old American bodybuilder who spent 8 decades training and recently won top honors at a physique contest says the secret to a long, healthy life is knowing your goal and committing fully to it.
80년 동안 꾸준히 운동하면서 최근 대회에서 세계 최고령 보디빌더 타이틀을 획득한 미국의 한 100세 할아버지가 자신이 세운 목표를 잘 알고 거기에 온전히 헌신하는 것을 건강한 장수의 비결로 꼽았습니다. Alright, what's his name? Tell us about him.
Andrew Bostinto, and he is an incredible 100-year-old human being. He won the championship belt just 4 months after his 100th birthday last May, the National Gym Association, the physique contest. He is the founder and the CEO of the association. But he has won numerous awards, including Senior Mr. America in 1977. He's very much in shape. He trains 5 to 6 days a week. But he's also about committing to things.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that he says is so important. Number 1 is to know what you want to accomplish, commit yourself to it, be disciplined, don't listen to people telling you you're wasting your time, don't listen to negatives. And it's a really good advice for anything. You don't have to be a bodybuilder to listen to this, but whatever your passion is, I think if you follow Mr. Senior, Mr. America, you'll do well.
뭐든지 내가 해야겠다 라고 마음을 먹고 꾸준히 하면은 된다라고 자신의 장수 비결을 말했는데요. 이게 비단 장수 비결뿐만 아니라 어떤 인생의
네.
비결이 될 수도 있다. 이렇게 보여지네요. So he won top honors.
Yes, and if you win top honours, you are awarded, well, one or if not the best prize. So, for example, we talk about the Nobel Prize or the
Right.
Nobel Prizes. They are top honours, or Oscars or Emmys or the Blue Dragons or the Golden Bells. They're all top honours.
Win top honors는 최고 영예를 획득한다라는 뜻이 있습니다. 그래서 최고 상을 받았다는 뜻이고요. Academically, if you say you graduated with honors, I think that means you graduated with a very good score, right?
Yes, I wouldn't know. I didn't.
그래서 이제 졸업할 때 그 우수한 성적으로 졸업하는 경우에는 I graduated with honors. 그래서 모든 graduate가 이렇게 말할 수 있진 않거든요. 아주 소수만 그러니까
Yes.
이런 얘기를 할 수 있으면 이것도 뭐 이력서에다가 쓸 수도 있을 것 같아요. We both don't know, but nonetheless, but I'm me included.
At least we owned up to it, and that's very honourable.
Yes, exactly. 자, 그 다음에는 physique라는 게 physical이랑 스펠링이 좀 다르거든요. It
네.
has a Q-U-E in it.
It does.
And that just sort of means the way your body is, right?
Yeah, the shape of your body, or the sculpting of your body.
Yeah, 사람의 체격을 말합니다. And if you commit fully to something,
It means you give 100%. You do not quit. You keep going to the very end. You give it your all.
yeah, to be committed. You could be committed to a job, going to the gym, a relationship.
Yeah.
It could be anything, but that means that you are dedicated to something. You want
Yes.
to, you spend a lot of time doing something, whatever that is, and you put your heart and soul into it.
Exactly. I mean, you know what some people call a wedding?
What?
A commitment ceremony.
Ah, yeah.
Because you're committing yourself fully to the other person.
Because you're committing your life to them. It's a
Yeah.
huge commitment. 그렇죠. 근데 commit fully to something 그러면은 전적으로 무언가 이제 헌신을 하는 느낌인데 장수의 비결로 이 100세의 미국인 할아버지 앤드류 버스틴토가 자신은 이제 매일매일 헬스장 가는 것에 정말 committed 돼서 지금도 그렇게 하고 있대요. 매일 헬스장을 100세에.
Well, 5 or 6 days a week soon.
Almost every day. 그래도요.
네.
그렇게 지금도 하고 계신데 그 어떤 것이든 if you commit to it, you can normally excel at that thing, whatever it is.
I think it's true for everybody. They say, it's talent is all down to hard work.
Yeah, absolutely. 자, 그러면 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. A 100-year-old American bodybuilder who spent 8 decades training and recently won top honors at a physique contest says the secret to a long, healthy life is knowing your goal and committing fully to it. All right, well, let's move on to the final headline.
A Canadian airline has announced plans for a major cabin refresh across its formerly economy-only fleet, introducing a new premium cabin with reclining seats and upgraded extended comfort options at higher prices.
캐나다의 한 항공사가 과거 전석이 이코노미석으로 구성된 항공기 내부를 재설계하면서 새로운 프리미엄 객실을 도입한다고 발표했습니다. 이에 따르면 등받이 조절이 되는 리클라이너 좌석과 업그레이드된 편의 사양이 전보다 높은 가격에 제공되는 것으로 알려졌습니다.
Yeah, and I wonder if this signals a coming trend in terms of budget or economy airlines who are trying to, one, maximize profit, but two, maximize space. What's interesting is they've now got this premium cabin.
Yeah.
There's going to be 12 seats there where you have reclining seat backs and a large headrest and you can adjust things. But then they're also going to be able to add in one row of seats compared to the previous layout. So they're actually fitting more people onto the
Okay,
plane.
interesting.
And they say, a little bluntly perhaps, choices ranging from less space at the back to more space near the front of the cabin. So I'm not sure how comfortable some of these seats may be now, but certainly we've seen over the years, economy shrinks, or at least the space you get in economy can be shrinking. And certainly you're going to have to pay a premium if you want the space and maybe if you want to recline.
Exactly. So there are going to be these comfortable seats, but as you said, it comes with a price tag.
Yes.
A hefty one at that. Let's have a look at major cabin refresh.
Yes. Well, first of all, major. If something is major, it's big, it's important, it's not minor. And a cabin refresh, well, it's a renovation. It's a remodeling. It's refurbishing. These all basically mean the same things. We're sort of fixing things or changing things, making things better.
그렇죠. major하고 minor는 반대 개념의 단어들인데 컨텍스트에 따라서 다르게 해석이 돼요. 여기서 major는 대대적인이라는 뜻이고 만약에 아주 작은 변화가 일어났다면 minor를 쓸 수도 있겠죠. 그 외에도 우리가 이제 미성년자 얘기할 때 minor라고 불러요. 그때 명사인데 형용사가 아니라 he is, she is a minor 이렇게 말하면 미성년자다. 근데 그렇다고 해서 성년을 I am a major 이렇게 말하지는 않죠.
No, we don't say
그런
that.
표현은 없습니다. Now, cabin refresh라고 했을 때 cabin이 바로 객실을 말하는 거고 refresh가 개편 같은 거예요.
Exactly. It's a
대대적인
change
개편.
of some sort.
That's right. 그래서 항공기 객실의 대대적인 개편, a major cabin refresh. 그래서 우리 항공기 내부의 스텝을 뭐라 그러죠? cabin crew.
Yes.
그래서 객실, 뭐 항공기 내부에서 일하는 모든 그 크루들을 다 cabin crew라고 부르죠. 그 다음에 cabin fever라는 표현 있잖아요.
Oh, it's a great expression.
뭐예요?
Not so much for planes, but more about boats and ships in the old days. Cabin fever was when you were stuck on board a boat for weeks or months at a time. And because the only place you could go was the cabin or on deck, you would go crazy. You would go mad.
I think a lot of people during lockdown, during COVID, felt cabin fever at home because they couldn't go anywhere and they couldn't meet anyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
So cabin fever is not great. It's best to get out and about if you can. Don't find yourself stuck in a cabin for months at a time.
약간 그 협소한 공간에서 갇혀 있는 느낌. 이런 거를 cabin fever라고 합니다. All right, now let's look at formally something.
Yes, when we talk about formally something is what it was previously, what it was before, but now it is not that. It is changed into something else.
So could we change the word to previously then?
Absolutely.
In this case, it's previously economy-only fleet or formerly economy-only fleet. 그래요. former 그리고 previous 거의 같은 것 같네요. 아마 살짝 차이는 있을 수 있지만 매우 비슷한 표현이라고 보시면 되겠습니다. 용법으로나 의미는 거의 같고요. fleet라는 것도 역시 여기서 말하는 기체, 비행기를 얘기하고 있는 거겠죠? All right, well, let me read this one more time. A Canadian airline has announced plans for a major cabin refresh across its formerly economy-only fleet, introducing a new premium cabin with reclining seats and upgraded extended comfort options at higher prices. All right, well, that's it for the headlines with Paul Matthews.
The 2025 Population and Housing Census begins today and will run through November 18th, collecting data from a sample representing 20% of the country's households.
2025 인구주택 총조사가 오늘부터 다음 달 18일까지 실시되며 조사는 전체 가구의 20%를 표본으로 선정해 진행됩니다. Okay, so every 5 years the census takes place and this year is the year.
That's right.
What do we know?
I heard that it's actually the 100th anniversary of this national survey this year, so happy National Census Day. I don't know. Happy birthday. Happy 100th birthday. And it's conducted, as you mentioned, every 5 years.
I think the ministry marks 100 years, right?
Yeah. And the census is going to run from October 22nd, that's today, until November 18th. It covers 5 million households, or 20% of the population, through a combination sampling method. So if you have been selected by by the government to take part in this census. These participants will receive notices by mail, and they can complete the survey online at census.go.kr or by phone. And enumerators will also visit households that have not participated by the end of October. So the census includes all Korean residents and foreign nationals who have lived in the country for more than 3 months, with support available in 20 different languages, including English, Chinese, and Vietnamese. And according to the minister, they've urged active participation to ensure accurate results that help shape effective public policy.
Exactly. I stand corrected, actually. It has been 100 years since this survey started.
Yeah.
You're right. And, of course, 20% of the people will be surveyed either through telephone or online. There's going to be different ways of doing that.
Yep.
So this sample, 우리는 표본이라고 하죠.
Yes.
The sample size represents the whole nation, but it's a small size. Well, not too small. It's big enough to represent the whole country. What is representing?
Well, represent means to, we select our representatives, right, to speak or act or be present officially for us or other people. And that would be, people who work in the government as national assemblymen or policymakers. But it can also, in this case, represent or representing means to show or describe something to someone. So it's like here, it's kind of like the 20% population will be speaking for the entire nation's population.
Exactly. 대표한다, 대신한다라는 뜻이죠. To represent. 그래서 전 국민의 20%가 이제 전 국민을 대표하는 그런 이제 조사를 받게 될 겁니다.
Yeah.
표본으로 선정된 이 전 국민의 20%에 해당되는 인구는 이미 선정이 됐고요. 그래서 오늘부터 해서 이제 우편 발송된 그 안내문이 있을 거예요. 거기를 통해서 이제 인터넷 조사 또 전화 조사에 참여를 할 수 있다고 합니다.
Yeah.
또 다음 달에는 이제 방문 조사도 병행이 된다라고 하는데요. 네, 여러 가지 이제 물어보게 될 거예요.
Yes.
뭐 이제 생활 행태, 그 다음에는 또 이제 가정의 모습, 뭐 아니면 여가 시간에 무엇을 하는지, 뭐 등등등 여러 가지 아주 구체적인 질문들이 많이 있을 겁니다.
Yep.
And this is going to be from today. And it's going to run through November 18th.
Right.
Let's look at through
Yeah.
in the sense of time.
Right. We say run through or through something, and it's the expression run through. It's used as a phrasal verb to mean be present throughout.
Yeah.
So another expression that you can use instead would be to last or to take place from so-and-so date until so-and-so date.
To run through 언제라고 하면은 언제까지 진행이 된다라는 뜻이 되겠죠. So this census begins today, the 22nd of October, and it runs through or it will take place until the 18th of November. 우리가 보통 이제 날짜 얘기할 때 그냥 뭐 Monday to Friday
Yeah.
대신에도 Monday through Friday
Right.
이렇게 표현할 수도 있죠.
Right.
Okay, here's the headline again. The 2025 Population and Housing Census begins today and will run through November 18th, collecting data from a sample representing 20% of the country's households. Let's move on to the next headline.
Foreign visitors to Korea are shifting away from traditional Korean restaurants and increasingly opting for everyday foods, according to the Korea Tourism Organization, leading to convenience store meals, fast food, and coffee shop snacks, capturing a significant share of foreign tourist food-related spending.
우리나라를 방문한 외국인 관광객의 음식 소비 형태가 전통 한식을 벗어나 한국인의 일상 음식을 선택하는 쪽으로 확장하고 있다고 한국관광공사가 밝힌 가운데 이로 인해 편의점 식품, 패스트푸드, 카페 음식 등이 외국인 관광객의 음식 관련 지출에서 상당한 비중을 차지하는 것으로 나타났습니다. Yesterday, Karen, we had a story about 계란빵 making it to CNN's list of top 50 breads in the world.
Really?
And 계란빵 is such a, sort of everyday person's snack, really, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I guess
it's
during
not-
the winter time,
During the
right?
winter time, yeah. It's not like a royal cuisine.
No.
It's not anything posh. So again, I feel like that has something to do with the whole K-food culture
Yes.
that we're looking at in this story too.
Yeah. I think people are kind of now exploring new foods because we hear of bibimbap or bulgogi,
Yeah.
the tradition kimchi, the traditional Korean dishes that everyone. I think it's a little more accessible overseas as well these days
Yeah,
because of the
yeah.
K culture boom. But now when visitors come to Korea, they want to try stuff that just people have every day. It's not a big deal. It's not something that you pay a lot of money for. It's just available very readily. And I think the popularity of convenience stores also has played a part in this. So that's what they're saying. They're saying that a lot of increasing foreigners are turning to these everyday foods like the convenience store meals, just the coffee shop experience, which I think is very different from other countries.
Yep.
And like something like waffles over traditional Korean restaurants. So the KTO released this report and they say that it's based on foreign credit card data
Yeah.
from 2018 to
Okay.
July 2025. So I would say it's pretty accurate. And they say that purchases of ice cream rose 35% annually.
Okay.
Convenience store meals rose 34%. And it was a big trend. So truffles, the combination of croissants kind of being pressed in a waffle
Yeah.
maker, that rose 25.5%. So in the first 7 months of this year alone, they say tourists made 13 million convenience store transactions, which I think makes sense because if you visit another country, they're pretty convenient. That's why they're called convenience stores.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
would go there to just buy like your daily necessities and anything you're missing, but also to try out the food. And this surpassed all other food categories, and it was followed by cafes and bakeries. So KTO noted that the appeal lies in Korea's creative spin on familiar foods, such as local burger chains and themed outlets offering exclusive menu items. Of course, social media trends are also shaping tourist tastes with 꿀떡 cereal and other Korean-style snacks going viral. I think there was a time when yakgwa was also very popular.
yeah.
So the KTO says this shift reflects how Korean daily life itself has become a cultural experience for international travelers.
There was a related survey last year asking tourists who were planning to come to Korea what they wanted to do most. And topping the list was trying out local food.
Yeah.
And I know in my case, when I travel, I feel like 50% of what I want to do is to try the local food.
It's
So
to eat. Yes,
Yeah, it makes
yes.
total sense. And these days, if I watch all these famous chefs, Gordon Ramsay,
Yeah.
Jamie Oliver, all these people, they sometimes incorporate Asian ingredients, Korean ingredients, and they'll just use some chamgiram, get some sesame oil and sesame oil.
Yeah.
Because that is not an ingredient that you would normally see on a Western table
Yeah.
or in a kitchen in England or the US. But these days, they say, and add some kimchi, and it's just become pretty normal.
Yeah,
I love it.
Definitely. I think on the New York Times, it's like food list. I don't remember what exactly the list was. They had this list of like 50 foods that you have to try before you die. And one of them, I think, was gochujang butter pasta or something like that. So it
okay.
incorporated
Yeah.
a very Korean ingredient into pasta, and it was very popular.
Yeah. Well, that's a sort of fusion,
Yes.
East meets West kind of dish, isn't it? 자, 그래요. 2018년부터 2025년 7월까지 외국 그 방한객들의 신용카드 사용을 가지고 분석을 해보니까요. 예전에는 한국 음식 하면은 이제 김치, 불고기, 비빔밥을 주로 많이 사 먹었다면은 요즘에는 이제 라면, 김밥, 아이스크림, 길거리 간식 이런 것들을 정말 많이 사 먹는다라고 합니다.
Yep.
So we're shifting away from one thing to another.
Yeah. When you shift away from something, it means that you are kind of moving away from it. So it's to change your focus, your opinion, or practice to move away from something.
Yeah.
So this can be physically moving to a different position, or maybe changing a business strategy, or changing your social attitude towards something.
Yeah, when you drive, you shift your gear from P to D when you start driving, and then when you park, you shift your gear from D to P. 뭐 이런 식으로 이제 shifting은 움직이는 거예요. Shifting away from something은 무언가로부터 벗어나는 거겠죠? And to capture something?
To capture something. So this means to succeed in getting something, or when you capture someone's attention, you can use this to mean that you are making someone interested in something.
그러네요. capture라는 것이 우리가 이제 이미지를 캡처하는 것도 있겠지만, capturing이 여기서 말하는 것은 차지하다가 되겠습니다. So, capturing a significant share of foreign tourists' spending, 외국인 관광객들의 소비 지출, 그 음식을 사는 것에 대한 그 신용카드 지출을 굉장히 큰 부분을 차지하는 게 이런 길거리 음식 등등이 되겠습니다. 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. Foreign visitors to Korea are shifting away from traditional Korean restaurants and increasingly opting for everyday foods, according to the Korea Tourism Organization, leading to convenience store meals, fast food, and coffee shop snacks, capturing a significant share of foreign tourists' food-related spending.
Authorities in the city of Aden in Yemen have issued an urgent warning that the city is on the brink of a complete power outage due to a severe fuel shortage and the absence of emergency intervention from the Yemeni government.
예멘의 임시 수도인 아덴시 당국은 심각한 연료 부족 사태에 더해 정부의 긴급 개입도 이루어지지 않으면서 도시 전체가 완전 정전 위기에 처했다는 긴급 성명을 발표했습니다.
Yeah. So this emergency statement says that fuel reserves are nearly exhausted, leaving only the President Power Plant partially running at 65 megawatts with limited solar support during daylight hours. And they say that other stations are expected to shut down within 24 to 72 hours unless emergency fuel arrives. So this is according to the Electricity Corporation in Aden, and they're saying that the outage could trigger a humanitarian crisis, disrupting hospitals, water systems, and essential services. So it urged Yemen's Presidential Leadership Council to take immediate action. As you mentioned, Aden is Yemen's temporary capital, and it has suffered repeated electricity shortages due to aging infrastructure. There's a lot of political instability going on there, and chronic fuel supply issues.
그래요. 그 ADEN, 에이든이라는 곳이 그 예멘의 남쪽에 있습니다. 그리고 이제 우리는 아덴이라고 이제 얘기를 하죠. 영어로는 에이든. So, having a look at some of the expressions here, it says that the city is on the brink of a complete power outage.
Yeah, so if you are on the brink of something, it means you're very close to experiencing or doing something. And it's often used for something that's very significant, critical, or dramatic. So in this case, a complete power outage. And it can be used for both positive or negative situations. And so a similar expression you can use would be on the verge of something or on the edge of something.
About to do something.
Yes.
On the brink of something. 무엇의 직전에 있다. 지금 정전 직전이다. 전체가 다 지금 정전 위기에 처해 있다라는 뜻이 되겠고요. There's the absence of emergency intervention by the government.
Yeah, absence. So it's basically the state of not being there or not being present. So it can refer to a person being away from a place. So when you go to school, and if you are not at school, you would be absent from school, or you would have to turn in like an absence form.
Yeah.
And it can also describe the period of time someone or something is gone, or the lack or deficiency of something.
A leave of absence would be like a 교석,
Yeah.
결석계 같은 거죠.
Or if you're working, it would just be vacation
휴가,
days. Yeah.
그런 것도 leave of absence라고 하는데요. absence가 부재라는 뜻이 있습니다. Of course, Aden borders the Gulf of Aden, which we also talk about quite a lot in the news. 자, 아덴만, Gulf of Aden이죠. 자, 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. Authorities in the city of Aden in Yemen have issued an urgent warning that the city is on the brink of a complete power outage due to a severe fuel shortage and the absence of emergency intervention from the Yemeni government. Let's move on to the next headline.
A large charred and smoldering object yet to be identified has been found in a remote part of the Australian desert, with officials saying it's probably a spent rocket part.
호주 사막의 외딴 지역에서 불에 타 그을린 대형 미확인 물체가 발견된 가운데 당국에서는 이 물체가 과거 발사된 로켓의 부품일 것으로 추측했습니다. All right, so I guess the people of Australia would have been quite surprised,
Oh, yes.
the few people in the desert, that is, to see this object
Yeah.
falling from the sky.
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming not a lot of people were there to actually witness that because it fell in the middle of the desert. So it was discovered in Pilbara Desert of Western Australia. Western Australia is known for having a very small population. It's very not densely populated. So they're saying that this charred metallic object was found by mine workers on Saturday. It's believed to be a rocket propellant tank or pressure vessel from a past launch, although officials have not yet identified its exact origin. Authorities say that it poses no immediate safety risk, and they're working with international space agencies to determine where it came from.
Right.
So while most space debris burns up during atmospheric re-entry, some fragments occasionally do survive and they fall to Earth, usually over oceans. And experts say that the discovery highlights the growing risks of orbital junk as satellite launches increase. So, I mean, just imagine something like this falling over
A residential area.
a residential
Yeah,
area
that would
or
be
a very
terrible.
densely populated area. People
Yeah.
could get hurt. We don't know what would happen.
Right.
So the Australian Space Agency has reaffirmed its commitment to space debris mitigation and ongoing efforts to promote safe, sustainable space activity.
네, 호주의 사막에 떨어진 이 그을린 미확인 물체. 예, 이게 이제 아마도 로켓의 일부분이었을 것이다. 그러니까 우주 쓰레기라는 얘기죠, 한마디로.
Yep.
자, 그런데요. 여기서 이제 표현들이 많이 나옵니다. charred and smoldering이라고 하면은 이 검게 탄. 그 다음에는 이제 연기만 피우다가 이제 타버린 이런 느낌이에요. 그래서 검게
Yeah.
탄 물체 생각하시면 될 것
Yeah,
같고.
I think if you say that your steak has been charred, it's actually a pretty good thing because it means that it has the black, slightly burned
Yeah,
parts, which
yeah.
I know some people really like. But if it's been charred too much, maybe that's not good. But yeah, so that's another way you can use this expression.
Exactly. So that's why we have the word charcoal, which is like soot.
Yeah.
Or 석탄. What about yet to be identified?
Yet to be identified. So yet means we use yet when we say not yet. So yet to be identified means it has not been identified yet, or the identity has not been proven yet, but it is expected to be in the future.
Yeah, you know that expression, the best is yet to come.
Yeah.
It means it hasn't happened yet.
Yes, but it will soon.
네, yet to be identified는 아직까지는 이게 정확히 뭔지 확인되지 않았다, 밝혀지지 않았다라는 뜻입니다. So not only has the object not been identified, but where it came from has also not been identified. Although there are rumors. Some people say it's from this country, that
Yeah,
country,
yeah.
but it's not been identified. And it was found in a remote part of the Australian desert.
Right. So if it's a remote part, it means that it's very far from the centers of population or civilization.
Yeah.
So you can use this when you're talking about like a remote village. So that would be a village that's very far from everything, or a remote part of the jungle. So that would also be a place that is very far from the center of population.
Exactly. Remote. 멀리 있다, 외딴 이런 의미죠. 그래서 원격이라는 의미도 있는데요. Remote control, 리모컨이 사실 그 두 단어를 합쳐놓은 거겠죠. 근데 리모컨은 이제 콩글리시고 영어로는 그냥 remote.
Yeah.
라고만 해도 remote control로 이해가 되는데 사실 요즘에는 뭐 이것도 필요 없죠. 그냥 우리가 리모컨으로 TV 보는 것보다 그냥 이제 스마트 기기로 스트리밍 사이트를 통해서 네, TV 프로그램 많이 보니까.
Yep.
그래요. 그 다음에 이제 저 이 단어도 보고 싶은데요. A spent rocket part라고 할 때 이 spent가 동사가 아니고요.
Yes.
형용사예요. 그래서 이렇게 많이 쓰이는 걸 못 보셨을 것 같은데 a spent rocket part means a used rocket
Yep.
part. 오래 뭐 사용이 됐다. 그러니까 새 거가 아니라는
Yep.
의미로 보시면 되겠습니다. 자, 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. A large charred and smouldering object yet to be identified has been found in a remote part of the Australian desert, with officials saying it's probably a spent rocket part. Let's move on to the next headline.
China has begun test runs of its newest high-speed train capable of reaching speeds of up to 450 kilometers per hour, with commercial service expected to start as early as next year.
중국이 최고 시속 450km까지 낼 수 있는 최신 고속 열차의 시험 운행을 시작했으며 빠르면은 내년부터 상업 운행을 시작할 전망입니다. Tell us more.
Yeah, so it's called the CR450, and it's being called the world's fastest electric multiple unit, and that's EMU. And it's currently undergoing operational evaluation on the Shanghai, Chongqing, Chengdu high-speed rail line.
Okay.
So like just the name CR450, it must stand for something, and that's actually the top speed of this train,
Right.
which will reach 450 kilometers per hour, and it's going to complete 600,000 kilometers of test runs before it can actually enter commercial service. So its record-breaking performance is attributed to aerodynamic and structural innovations, including a 15-meter nose cone, fully enclosed bogies, and a lighter lower frame that together cut air resistance by 22%. So it's a really amazing sort of innovation.
Yeah.
And another thing that's noteworthy about this train is that it can accelerate from 0 to 350 kilometers per hour in just 4 minutes and 40 seconds. And that's about 100 seconds faster than current models that are in use.
Wow. So the fastest speed for the KTX is roughly about 300 kilometers
Yeah.
per hour.
Yeah.
Now,
And
this
that's
particular train
fast.
in China is going to be 450 kilometers
Yeah.
per hour. So that's even faster.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It is
All right.
amazing.
So currently, it's begun its test runs.
If something goes for a test run, it's kind of like a trial run or a preliminary attempt to try something out, because you have to see if this is safe and you have to see if this is operatable. So you use this expression when we're talking about like a new machine that's been developed, or it could even be like a process if the government is going to if it created some sort of new policy, they might go through a test run to
Yeah.
see if it actually works. So it could refer to a process or a plan that is going through a trial run to make sure that it works correctly before it is used in its official capacity.
Exactly. 시험 운행, 시범 운행 다 될 수가 있겠죠. Test run. And to be capable of something.
To be capable of something means you would have the ability or power or qualities to do something, or it also means being susceptible to a particular effect. So you can talk about someone's personal skills, in this case, a machine's function, or a situation's potential, saying that it's capable of something.
무엇을 할 수 있다, 뭐뭐 할 능력이 된다 할 때 something is capable of doing something. So this train in China is capable of reaching up to 453 kilometers per hour. That doesn't mean it will always run at that speed.
Exactly.
Sometimes it'll be a little bit slower, but it is capable
Yeah.
of reaching that top speed. And next year, it's likely that this will become commercial. 아직까지는 시험 운행 중이고요. 상업화는 아마 내년 정도가 될 거라고 합니다. 자, 다시 한번 읽어볼까요? China has begun test runs of its newest high-speed train capable of reaching speeds of up to 450 kilometers per hour, with commercial service expected to start as early as next year.
The Education Ministry has announced several measures to ensure the smooth and secure administration of the annual college entrance exam, or 수능, scheduled for next month, including restricting vehicle access within 200 meters of test sites and grounding all flights during the English listening section of the exam.
교육부가 다음 달에 치러질 2026학년도 대학 수학 능력 시험과 관련해 수능 당일 안정적 시험 시행을 위한 지원 대책을 발표했습니다. 여기에는 시험장 200m 전방부터 차량 출입을 통제하고 영어 영역 듣기 평가 시간에 항공기와 헬리콥터 이착륙 시간을 조정하는 등의 내용이 포함됐습니다. Alright, so not too long, not many days to go, in fact, until the 수능.
Yeah, about 3 weeks to go.
Yep.
The exam is scheduled for Thursday, November the 13th. So I'll be here on that particular day.
Oh, yes, it's a Thursday.
It's
yes.
a Thursday.
That's right, yep.
So, yeah, as Korea often does for this exam, they're going to do the best they can to allow students to get to the tests without incident. They're making government workers and asking major companies to delay the start of their workday to 10 a.m. in order to ease congestion. Yep. Also, there will be extra subway and transportation available from 6 to 8:10 a.m. And they're going to try to make sure that there aren't flights going on, whether it be helicopter or airliners, during the English listening test portion. Yeah. That's from 1:10 p.m. to 1:35 p.m. So a 25-minute window where it might be eerily quiet.
Exactly, because every complaint matters. And if any test taker later on says that we couldn't hear the test because of air traffic or something, then that's an issue. So that's why that happens. 그래요. 11월 13일 날 수능일이고요. 관공서 같은 경우에는 출근 시간이 조금 늦춰질 예정이고 그 외에는 이제 대중교통 같은 경우에 특히 서울에서는 지하철은 6시에서 8시 10분 사이 아침에는 이제 평소보다 좀 더 지하철 편수가 증편이 돼서요. 수월한 이런 출근이 이어질 수 있도록 많은 여러 가지 노력들이 시행이 될 것 같습니다. Let's have a look at insuring something.
If you ensure something might take place or make sure that something happens in a certain way, then it's like you're making sure. Yeah. You're kind of giving extra reinforcement to make sure that this happens. You're ensuring it.
Ensuring something은 보장하다. So the Educational Ministry is going to try and ensure the smooth administration of the 수능.
And that's spelled with an E, not an I, in case you might hear it as like insure, like insurance.
Oh, yeah.
It's ensure, E-N-S-U-R-E rather than I-N.
Great point. Now, what about to ground flights?
Grounding flights means to keep airplanes on the ground. So it just means to prevent or stop airplanes from taking off. It might also be to keep airplanes out of the area in flight as well, because, in terms of flights that are landing at the local airports, they might, I don't know exactly if they're going to, but it could be possible that they're saying for incoming flights as well, can you kind of stay out of the area for a certain time period while they're doing this test as well? I wonder if they would do that also.
I think they might, because it's 25 minutes. I'm sure all airports will be able to tell other airline companies around the world, don't arrive in Korea during this time. Yeah, exactly. Just we're going to delay all flights just for about 25 minutes or so. 그래요. To ground flights라는 것은 항공편을 운항 중지한다는 뜻이 있는데요. Grounding all flights니까요. 이제 해당 시간에는 모든 항공편의 운항이 중지되겠죠.
Yeah, anytime there's any kind of a major incident, then sometimes they'll do that. If you recall, during 9/11 attacks in New York, they grounded all flights in North America completely, saying that no airplanes were allowed to take off. So it's just we're keeping all the airplanes on the ground.
Exactly. The word itself, as you said, it comes from keeping something on the ground, or in this case, keeping planes on the ground. 이륙하지 못하게 한다라는 데서 원래는 이 표현이 나온 거죠.
I'll just quickly mention one more thing. You can't say that a person can be grounded as well, meaning that they're not kind of too far out there and things getting to their heads. You know, like you're kind of like a good solid person that, their imagination doesn't go wild in terms of, doing dumb things.
Yeah, a very well-grounded person.
Yeah.
그러니까 너무 머리가 이제 뜬 구름 위에 올라가 있는 것 같은 그런 생각이 있지 않고 정말 현실적이고 특히 우리가 유명한 연예인에 대해서 이런 얘기를 많이 하거든요. 연예인이 되면은 또 많은 부와 명예를 축적하다 보면은 약간 일반인과 다르게 생활할 수 있는데 그러지 않고 그냥 보통 사람이랑 똑같이 그냥 옆집 언니 오빠처럼 이게 생활하는 그런 연예인들한테 he or she is very grounded 이렇게 얘기를 하죠. 그 캐나다 키아누 리브스. 키아누 리브스가 그렇다고
famous for that.
너무너무 잘 알려져 있어요.
Yeah.
그냥 마트 같은 데 그냥 가고 뭐 매니저 없이 그냥
rides the subway.
그냥 지하철 타고 그냥 캐나다의 다른 사람 하이 막 인사하고 그냥 그렇게 한대요. 네, 그럼 he's very grounded. 이렇게 표현할 수 있겠죠. 그 외에도 뭐 다른 의미도 있기는 있는데 학생한테 이제 벌을 줄 때 집에서 부모님이 아이한테 이제 벌 주는 식의 grounded도 있죠. 뭐 놀지 못한다, 친구 만나지 못한다 이런 것들도 있어요. 자, 그럼 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. The Education Ministry has announced several measures to ensure the smooth and secure administration of the annual college entrance exam or 수능 scheduled for next month, including restricting vehicle access within 200 meters of test sites and grounding all flights during the English listening section of the exam. Okay, let's move on to the next headline.
The government has decided to extend fuel tax cuts through the end of December, but the tax reductions will be lowered from 10 to 7% for gasoline and from 15 to 10% for diesel and liquefied petroleum gas starting in November.
정부는 유류세 인하 조치를 올해 12월 31일까지 2달 더 연장하되 다음 달부터 휘발유 인하율은 기존의 10%에서 7%로 경유 및 액화석유가스 인하율은 기존 15%에서 10%로 각각 하향 조정한다고 발표했습니다. So basically the tax reductions will last longer, but the amount that the tax reductions will happen, that's going to decrease, right?
Decrease, correct. Yeah. And what they're expecting is the eventual result. What's important to us is that when we go to fill up our cars at a gas station, the prices will most likely go up a little bit. So in the next month or so, you can probably expect fuel prices to go up when you need to fill up your car.
Right. I mean, this doesn't affect the prices hugely, but still. All right. Let's have a look at extending something.
If you're extending something, then you're making it go on longer. So it might extend like a contract that you have with an employer or employee, meaning that, well, let's keep this the same. Let's it was only for a year, but let's extend it for another year.
Sure.
Let's make it continue or go on a little bit longer.
연장한다는 거죠. Extending something, getting an extension. And a fuel tax cut.
A fuel tax cut, meaning that we're cutting the taxes or we're lessening it in this case. And tax, of course, money that the government collects from average people.
그래요. 유류세 인하예요. Fuel tax cut. 그리고 LPG를 풀어서 여기서 말하고 있죠. Liquefied petroleum gas. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. The government has decided to extend fuel tax cuts through the end of December, but the tax reductions will be lowered from 10 to 7% for gasoline and from 15 to 10% for diesel and liquefied petroleum gas starting in November.
Gold prices plummeted more than 5% in a single day on Tuesday, marking the steepest one-day drop since August 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic.
지난 화요일 금값이 전일 대비 5% 이상 급락하면서 코로나19 팬데믹 시기였던 2020년 8월 이후 5년 만에 하루 기준 최대 낙폭을 기록했습니다. Alright, so Before this, we were talking about gold prices going up, up, up. And now this story shows a different story. Tell us more.
Yeah, to quite the tumble as it was trading at $4,115.26 per ounce. That was as of like 1:45 p.m. on Tuesday. It was down 5.5% from the previous session the day before. So a huge staggering drop.
Yeah, a really big drop. 그래요. 이렇게 곤두박질 칠 때 우리가 plummet 했다라고 표현할 수 있죠. P-L-U-M-M-E-T.
Yeah, with something plummets, then it means that it's going straight down. Like it's an actual vertical drop, or sometimes we'll call it maybe like a 90-degree drop because it's perpendicular with the ground. And we've talked about plummet before, and I've mentioned before that it comes from being like a plumb line. Plumb line is when you have a line with a weight on the bottom so that it literally hangs, a rope or a line hangs 90 degrees to the ground. And the one other thing I'll mention with plummet is it's one of those words, if you noticed, when I read this, I don't say, gold prices plummeted more than 5%. I'll say gold prices plummeted more than 5%. It's one of those words that you want to stress as you're either reading or speaking.
Yep.
You don't read it like every other word in a sentence.
좀 강조해서 말하는 게 좋겠어요. 급락하다라는 뜻이고 느낌은 이제 수직 하강하는 느낌입니다. The steepest one-day drop. Let's look at that.
Something that is steep is it's the opposite of shallow, basically. So when you think of like a hill, if you're going hiking or you're walking up a hill, or it could be stairs as well, if it's really steep, then it means that the vertical angle of it is really great. It's more and more difficult to go up. If something is not steep, then it's kind of flatter, right? But if something is really steep, then it's going to be much more difficult to climb.
Exactly. Steep라는 건 가파르다. 그래서 the steepest one-day drop. 하루 기준 가장 가파른 낙폭. 가장 이제 큰 낙폭이겠죠. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. Gold prices plummeted more than 5% in a single day on Tuesday, marking the steepest one-day drop since August 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic. Here's our next headline.
A recent study on the biology of Maria Brañas, who passed away last year at the age of 117, suggests that her extraordinary longevity may have been linked to her healthy gut bacteria, which resembled that of a much younger person and was maintained by her habit of eating 3 servings of yogurt daily for the last 20 years of her life.
작년에 117세의 나이로 세상을 떠난 마리아 브라니아스의 유전 정보를 분석한 결과 그녀의 놀라운 장수 비결이 건강한 장내 세균과 관련이 있을 가능성이 제기됐습니다. 연구에 따르면 브라니아스의 장내 세균총은 젊은이들과 비슷한 수준이었으며 생애 마지막 20년 동안 하루 3번 요거트를 꾸준히 섭취한 습관이 도움이 됐을 것으로 보입니다. Okay, so after this news, I can see yogurt sales going through the roof. Tell us more.
Yeah, of course, yogurt has probiotics in it, and I think that's the key. I think kimchi also has a lot of probiotics. Right. So people talk about how probiotics are really good for your body in terms of digestion and stuff like that. So,
your gut health, yeah.
Yeah, your gut health is definitely considered. And, they say that her living as long as she did, 117 years, it wasn't necessarily for just one factor or a magic gene, but it says there's a lot of different factors that contributed to her long life. And a lot of that seems to, again, point towards her diet.
그래요. 자, 이렇게 장수의 비결이 굉장히 건강한 장내 세균 덕분인 것 같다라는 연구 결과인데요. We're talking about her extraordinary longevity.
Yes, and extraordinary is how we pronounce it, but if you look at the spelling of it, it basically is extraordinary. So extraordinary meaning that it's not ordinary.
Yeah.
It's unusual. So something that's not normal. It's extraordinary, extraordinary.
That's right.
And what are we talking about that's not usual? Well, her longevity, how long that she was able to live. Anytime we're talking about longevity, it's talking about the time period of how long something is. In this case, we're talking about her life.
그래요. longevity는 이제 장수, extraordinary라는 두 단어를 합쳐서 굉장히 특별하다, 놀랍다라는 의미가 되는데 보통은 이제 extraordinary라고 발음하지 않고요. extraordinary 이렇게 발음을 합니다. Now, what about to resemble something?
If you resemble something or could resemble someone, then it means that you look like them or look like it. So it kind of seems to physically have similarities.
Yeah, 그래요. 닮았다라는 뜻이죠. 그럼 다시 읽어보겠습니다. A recent study on the biology of Maria Branias, who passed away last year at the age of 117, suggests that her extraordinary longevity may have been linked to her healthy gut bacteria, which resembled that of a much younger person and was maintained by her habit of eating 3 servings of yogurt daily for the last 20 years of her life. And here's our final headline.
The European Union is considering classifying ethanol used in biocidal products, such as hand sanitizers, as a dangerous substance over increasing risks of cancer and pregnancy complications.
유럽연합 EU가 손소독제 등의 살균 제품에 쓰이는 에탄올을 암과 임신 합병증 위험을 높이는 유독성 물질로 분류하는 방안을 검토 중이라고 밝혔습니다. Tell us more.
Yeah, so the European Chemical Agency, also known as ECHA, flagged ethanol as a toxic substance. And the committee is set to meet between November 25th and November 27th. And if its experts were to conclude that ethanol had the potential to cause cancer or harm human reproduction, then it would recommend its reclassification. And so perhaps ethanol could be more dangerous than we have thought in the past.
그래요. 에탄올. 이게 이제 특히 우리 손소독제 다 들어가 있잖아요. 이게 좀 유독한 물질로 이루어졌을 수도 있다. 이런 우려에서 나온 검토 사항이고 유럽연합은 어쩌면은 이제 이게 뭐 암이나 임신 합병증으로 이어질 수도 있기 때문에 아예 처음부터 분류를 유독성 물질로 할 수도 있다 이렇게 하고 있습니다. 분류하다, to classify.
If you classify something, then you're putting it into a group as to what it's going to be known as. So sort of like an identity. This is what you are or who you are. This is how we're going to divide you from the rest of the group.
그래서 분류를 classification, 그다음에 분류하다 to classify, 뒤에 fy 이렇게 끝나고요.
And it's used a little bit different from if something were to be classified in terms of information.
Yeah.
You might say like, oh, that's classified information, or that's classified, meaning that it's secret. You don't have the authority to know that. That's not. It's above your pay grade.
기밀 정보를 우리가 classified라고 하죠. 그래서 이제 같은 어원에서 온 단어인데 어떻게 보면은 일반인들이 보면 안 되는 것으로 또 분류가 됐다라고 굳이 해석을 하자면은 그럴 수 있지만 어쨌든 어떤 문서에 표지에 classified라고 써 있으면은 기밀이라는 뜻입니다. 자, 그다음에 biocidal products.
A biocidal product is something that's dangerous for living cells and people and things like that. So you think of bio is like biology.
Yeah.
We think about like living things and animals. Could be plants as well. But if something is biocidal, then it is bad for biology or things that are living.
그래요. 그래서 이 뭐뭐뭐 cidal이라는 이제 전미어가 붙게 되면은 뭔가를 죽이는 효과가 있다. 그래서 이제 그런 좀 무서운 뜻인데 여기서 말하는 거는 살충 제품 아니면은 살균 제품을 말하고 있습니다. Biocidal products. 다시 읽어볼게요. The European Union is considering classifying ethanol used in biocidal products such as hand sanitizers as a dangerous substance over increasing risk of cancer and pregnancy complications. 자, 이렇게 해서 제이슨 선생님과 헤드라인스 다 살펴봤습니다.